When footsteps fall in eldritch hollows, and spectres flee into the shadows, that is the time when horror's heroes abound, culling the ghouls that go bump in the night.
What is up, Comicsgate? What is up, Comicsgate? From the heart of Lovecraft country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is Shanth Enjeti, and you are watching Shanth Enjeti Art. 8 bells, and all is well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Boy, I gotta tell you guys, it has been a wild couple of weeks here. I know not just for me, I know for many of you. And I am sort of was dragging myself off the ground and saying to myself, I need to fire up a stream. I need to say, hey, I need to connect with you guys, tell you all the madness that is going on as always, but also to share with you guys painting and art and all the cool stuff that we do here, guys. So just to be clear, and I think it's in the description, I honestly do not know whether to scratch my watch or wind my behind at this current moment. However, in the description, there should be a link to the sign up for Spring Ball, as well as for those of you guys who are long-time members. You now have a new badge. There is now a Spring Ball badge for anybody who has been here for over 2 years, 24 months. If you had told me when we started this thing that that was going to be a reality, I wouldn't have believed you guys. So there's a link to sign up for Spring Ball, which I have been working tirelessly on, as well as to get Nosfero's Second Chance campaign, guys. Here is the plan as it stands. Not to make an accidental rhyme there, but here's the plan. My plan is to start the Spring Ball campaign, and then once it gets to the end of 2 months, then I'm going to, when they give my funds for the Spring Ball campaign, I'm going to close the Nosfero Second Chance campaign. Because it's just insane to not have a campaign open, at all, which is what I did with the last, which I've done with the last 3 campaigns, but now it just doesn't make sense because I'm working on so many different things at once. I just have to make sure that I've always got a campaign open somewhere. So I've been writing. It's been a wild, insane, got no brains, says Stephen Rockwood. By the way, Mark, I just wanted to tell you something important. I've been thinking about you, Chuck. I'm going to get to you, my brother, very soon. I promise. Hail, indeed. I try to be punctual. You never know, man. But I do love all my brothers in CG, so hail to all those guys. A Man Called Plush, it's great to see you. Cranberry Langers, it's always great to see you. But I'm going to have to single out Mark right now. Mark, if you're here, you will be singled out. Know that. Lux. Let's see. Leg Kick 1. What's good? Good to see you guys. Good to see all of you guys, all right? And Studio, it is good to see you as well. Let me see if I've got everybody in here. But yeah, I have to single out Mark. This is important, Mark. All right, Mark. I've decided that in 2025, with a new year, I've got to give you your official new Lovecraft Country name, okay? Because Lovecraft Country, there's nobody named Mark here, okay? There's not. I don't know if you've done the research. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but your new name is going to be Mac. Because we don't have R's up here in the Northeast. So when I see it's Mac's Music Obsession. Mac! It's M-A-H-K. That's how I see it, man. It's a new year with new changes. So I'm officially adopting you to Lovecraft Country. You are now my brother, Mac. So there you go. And Mac goes Mach 1, Mach 4, Mach 5. He's wicked fast. That's how we're doing things. So here we go. Grey Wolf is in the house. It is good to see you, Grey Wolf. How are you doing? It's Mackie Mac. See, you guys know. Grey Wolf is in the house. Mark says he's cool with that. Thank God. Mo Biggs is here. What's up, Mo Biggs? Thulu will now forever carry the Mac of the Beast. See? You guys know. Mighty Geek Studios is here. Oh, you guys are just what I needed today, man. It has been it has been a rough, crazy couple of weeks, I know, and I'm not alone in that. And so I was sitting here, and I've been working on Spring Ball, and I'm hand painting it. Mark knows, and this is the thing about it, right? Is I haven't been painting and working in traditional as much as I usually do, and it just, and largely because I'm writing and because I am actually painting in digital Spring Ball, because I just think like a painter now, and I'm doing hand lettering, all this crazy stuff, like it's all being painted and drawn. It's really weird. It's an interesting process, but it gives this book this total throwback vibe. But I have been, I need to work traditionally. I need to, what should we call? We need a new term for this channel. Because they say, what's up, John? It's good to see you, brother, and hail everybody. They say, you need to touch grass. And I think that it really is, I need to touch canvas. That's what mine's going to be. Any timeline of when Spring Ball will be receiving the coveted Big Balls endorsement? I don't know, man, but I love those lunatics, man. Those guys are nuts. May God bless and keep them, is all I have to say. My Lord. Yeah, I try to imagine for my own peace of mind that all those young guys are too young to be terrified of all that stuff. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Headless Bourgeoisie, it's good to see you. I feel like I missed you, Headless Bourgeoisie. So there you are, my friend. It's good to see you. It's good to see you, Chuck. So here's the thing, right? So I'm working on Spring Ball, and I'm writing out like the pitch and what it's going to be about, and I'm and now I said to myself, I got to recharge and paint, but I just want to read you guys some of the stuff. And this is all rough, but I just want you to hear this so you get like what it is that we're doing here, And this is something I just typed down in notes just to keep it like late at night. In the city of Kingsport, in the heart of Lovecraft's New England, evil comes in many forms. A hero protects the city. He needs no sleep. He needs no rest. He has 10 times the strength of a normal man. He can't be destroyed. He ricochets through the city with an ability to change his bodily composition. It allows him to bounce over tall buildings and deflect speeding bullets. With an elastic tail, he can propel to arrest his motion and use the spherical end piece as both a suction cup anchor, or it will transform it into a solid mace-like blunt instrument of combat. Spring Ball is the unstoppable sentry of justice. Now he must do battle with a new threat to the innocence of Kingsport. It is the blasphemous spawn of eugenics and dark knowledge. It is reckless science combined with ancient inhuman knowledge that has been uncovered by misanthropic scientists with no regard for human life. That is the stuff that I'm thinking about. Now, that may have an element of it sounding like I'm talking about just the story there. But the thing I'm writing that for is just to keep myself in that headspace of what I'm doing here. And if you know me, sleep is not my strong point, but because of the most important thing for me about Spring Ball is that he's a character that never sleeps. All of my characters have an element of them that is relentless, where they've got a relentless element to what they do. Nosfero, very much so. I mean, he's this ferocious, unsleeping, unyielding force of good, doing battle with all of the various evils of the outer gods and then the undead cultists who bring him back to life. But in the world of Spring Ball, the thing about it is that it is Spider-Man meets Evil Dead in terms of its tone. It's about, yes, oh God, I'm serious, Mo Biggs. You guys are going to be core to the promotion of this. I freaking love that. Standing up to the forces of ultimate evil takes balls. Spring Ball. I love it, man. This book is going to be so fun. All this stuff is, man. It's like Nosfero 2, Death Will Die. I'm really excited about. But this first, 22 pages and this sort of, limited sort of floppy that we're going to be crowdfunding. The crowdfund, my slogan for it is fund the work, get the perk, or get your perk. And that's really what it's about. So I'm really looking forward to getting that book out there and crowdfunding the work that's involved in doing it, because it's very difficult for me to stop working, even though I know I should. I'm going, look, the purpose of the crowdfund is to fund the work, but I can't stop myself once I get going from wanting to work, you know? And I love, by the way, guys, that was a huge part of coming up with all these, and they won't show on screen, but if you're on YouTube, you can see them. The spring ball emoji and then the spring ball badges. Because this book, man, this book is so how do I put it? Nosfero is the most important work that I have done, Nosfero book 1, in my entire career. Easy. It's not even close. And the reason is that I've written comics before. I've self-published comics before. I've worked on comic book projects. I've been hired for freelance comic book projects. And I've worked in concept art. All of that stuff, right? But Nosfero is the first book that I go back to, and I'm just proud of it. And proud of it in the sense of it really is what I've always wanted to do with a story in terms of what messages I wanted to send, and it just feels right. Now, I did not think... The reason I have never wanted to come back to Spring Ball are quite a few reasons. One, it's from another time. Two, I had an idea for Spring Ball, and I had the bones of what this kind of world would be, but I didn't really have the story yet. I was young when I did it. I was a young man when I was working on that book, and there's things that you just... you can love comics, you can love all of that stuff, but you just don't really know who you are at that point. And again, one of my favorite things about Comicsgate, one of my favorite things about the space that I'm in right now, I freaking love seeing it. You know, it's so funny, guys. Before I fired up this stream, I was feeling totally wiped out, but I always hear Customato, Mike Tyson's original trainer, in the back of my head saying, discipline is doing something you don't want to do as if you love it. So you're never going to feel like getting up in the morning and going for that run, you know, doing road work when you're a boxer. But not only do you have to do it, you have to do it like you love it. And so for me, when I was writing Nosfero, I was saying, and frankly, that led directly into my credo, which was born out of this incredible, crowdfunding Comicsgate space, which is not just stay positive, not just don't take the black pill, although all of you guys say that, and I agree 100% with that, but give nihilism no quarter. How dare people think that they can walk with confidence knowing that giving that the goal of life is to reveal that everybody will be crushed by hardship, and that they want to reveal that there's no point in having any kind of hope at all. And I, like you guys, have had that realization. It's Mark. It's coming for you. I think I'm just gonna have to I'm looking so forward to sending this. You have no idea, man. That is that's the first box I'm packing. Like, period. It's happening. But this is the thing that's crazy about it is, I've been watching a lot of my people, and a lot of people in the space who've had tough experiences, and we as well, in the last couple of months. And I was just thinking, what a terrible thing it is to let that be a lesson, you know, to let that be the thing. And it was funny because it was a conversation that I had with my son that really just had a huge impact on me, because we were just talking about, you know, just various things, you know, that we had going on. You know, every now and again, I figured no news is good news, but every now and again I hear from the boy, and it's always great to hear from him. And we were just talking about various stuff, and I was talking about, and he said something to me that he had been thinking about lately, which is just this whole idea of how, and it's really inspiring to see a young man come to this. It really is, I have to tell you. But he was saying, you know, there's so much of that attitude out there of it is what it is. But I think it's so important to remind yourself it is what you make of it. And he wasn't saying like, oh, I'm judging other people or anything like that. What impressed me was he was talking about himself. He was like, you know what, Dad, every time something, you know, doesn't work out or I have trouble on something, I'm like, what are you going to do about it? It is what it is. And he goes, no, man, I've got to do something about it. I've got to get in there and make it happen. And it was a real shot in the arm to me, because that's kind of my attitude about this stuff. Do you guys know what I mean? It's like, it's just, you know, we could sit around all day and just be sort of paralyzed. But as I'm watching folks roll up their sleeves and try to make this country better, make what we're doing in this world better, it is inspiring to me. And I had a moment. I'm taking this headphone out because I can't effing stand it. It keeps falling out. Where the hell's my thing here? And the thing that was so I don't want to talk through it. So hopefully my audio didn't just go all janky. Let me know in the chat. But it was an interesting thing because you start looking at these things like comics and Spring Ball and all this stuff. And if I stopped for a second to say, like, how is this going to get done? How am I going to make this thing happen? I wouldn't try to do anything. And that same thing goes for everything we do. We face every new year. We face what we've got in front of us and we make it happen. And, and I want to thank you guys for your kind words regarding my wife's mentor and friend, by the way, in the comment section. She passed yesterday at 12 in the morning, and peacefully, and her daughter sent us some kind words, and so I do appreciate that, guys, very, very much so, for your positivity, and that stuff matters. That stuff matters. Oh, good, audio is good. Says Headless Bourgeoisie. Hey, ahoy, Zaid. How you doing, Phil? You know what I mean? And Cranberry Landers, this. All of us sort of know this stuff, and I sort of watch when I'm making a book. My attitude is that there are people out there, there are things out there that are evil, that are negative. Though I won't make a Nosfero comic book without that. You know what I mean? Thank you, John. I will pass along your condolences to her. Absolutely right. And she watched our kids. She was one of those great people, and I know she's at rest, well-earned rest, from a job incredibly well done at life and inspiring so many people, including us. And it's one of those things to where I'm like, no. And so when someone asked me about this, and this is a big one. And I'm glad they asked me. I think it was Comic Book One. I always call him Comic Book One, but it's like, it's a one in it. I don't know why, but why I keep saying it wrong. But anyway, he knows who he is. He is the owner of one of my originals that I'm very proud of, and I know it's in a great home. And he asked me, he goes, so is this going to be a reprint? Guys, this book is so completely different. Although, if you have that original book, you'll go, okay, so that's that page, that's that page. Some pages I've completely changed the location, redone the layouts, but I am drawing by hand. Digitally. Well, I gotta stop saying drawing. Eric Weathers called me out on this the other day, and he was right. I'm painting this book digitally, and so I'm using line work. I'm putting in detail, but what I did the first time I did it is I did the black and white line artwork in pen and ink, and then I brought it into the computer and colored it, and it was like making the artwork twice, and it also is a very weird way for a painter to work. And so what I'm doing this time feels so much better, which is I rough in the colors, and then I build it compositionally in color like a painter, and then I go in and you see, let me get you guys closer here. You'll see what I'm doing here. Then I go in and I put the line detail into it. And so what the story involves is and not only are the visuals very now, the story is very now. I had some, the story at the time was very dated, and it wasn't dated in a, what's the word? It's just, if you looked at it, how I was approaching things and the stories I was telling was not new. It wasn't for who we are today and what we're dealing with today. And I think if you are frustrated with comic books and superhero stories and these fantasy stories that we tell, just dealing with so much fantasy world, so much this, so much that we lose like any kind of acknowledgement of the time we're living in and the issues that we face. And I don't mean it's political. I don't mean it's any of that stuff. Thank you so much, Dwight. I do appreciate that. God bless you, Dwight. I really do. Yeah, what an incredible woman and inspiring. Paulus Arts, it's great to see you. And hello, everybody there on X. Robble13, it is great to see you. Just can't stay, had to come in. Thank you so much for leaving a like. I appreciate it, Robble13, very much so. And thank you for being a channel member here. I appreciate it. And so, yeah, so I was sitting there and I'm working on Spring Ball, and I go, I want to write something that's positive, uplifting. Like, what happened to those heroes? What happened to those characters? What happened to that kind of story? What's up, Mr. Monkey Boy? And I want to create something that is positive and like whatever happened to just big fun comics. So I've been looking back at the Moo Crew, McFarlane, Orzechowski, and Olaf, the people who worked on those early Spawn issues, and doing things like hand lettering is crazy. You know, Knights Templar out there fighting dragons. No snakes this time. That's right, no snakes this time. And Mac's Music Obsession is here, and he says, "Yo, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969, respect to Mac. We love Mac. Mac is a king of New England. Do you understand that? He's a king of New England. All hail Mac. We love him." So I was looking at this stuff, and I'm just going, okay, because there have been some discussions in Comicsgate. I think I've had some with John Malin, and we were talking about lettering and all this stuff. And of course, I've had a lot of conversations about both painting and lettering with the great Eric Weathers, who did the letters on Nosfero. And it's a funny thing how those conversations that are just late night conversations can just get your mind looking at things differently. And I started looking at Orzechowski's lettering and various things that he did. And I found out that one of the things I responded to the most, even though he was doing this stuff by hand, to be clear, and yes, indeed, Comicsgate founding father John Malin, first man over the wall, as I always say, was that he seemed to have a passion for making his word balloons as spherical as he could. It was almost like it was a big design element. He did it with Spawn a lot, and he did it with some of the other characters. And what's interesting is, while he did use top lining, what's up, Venom Bite? How are you doing? It's good to see you, my friend. While he did use top lining on occasion, it seemed like he primarily used it when he felt like he was crowded. And so all these conversations that I get to have, and that we all have when we're talking comics, really just inform the process. And I also started realizing what we lost when we got rid of sound effects. I want to really bring back sound effects in Spring Ball. I do sound effects in Nosfero, but I really want to bring back the just the drawn sound effects. I'm not using any fonts on Spring Ball for the interior stuff. I created a font, or I should say any stock fonts. I created my own font based on the hand lettering I did on the original Spring Ball, and all the sound effects, I'm drawing them digitally. So I'm making sure that there is this sense of real play in that book. And it's crazy because I'm composing it. You know, I'm composing the book with that stuff in mind. You know, with that layout stuff in mind. I'm gonna have to see if I can call some of that up at some point. So, long story short, too late. Long story short, I've needed to recharge because I've been doing 16-hour days because the ideas that are coming to me right now for this book, and the same thing goes with Nosfero Death Will Die, guys. It's like I can't turn my brain off, guys. Cloudy and 71, God bless you, Mac. Mark is the king. What can you do? That's how it is. It's like I can't even describe what it's like. Like, the book has this sense of you know how when you looked at a lot of those books, and this is so missed. I was down in my basement yesterday, and I was looking for a book I couldn't find, and I found an old single issue second printing of New Mutants number 100, the final issue. And the thing that I was looking at when I was looking at Rob's stuff on there was similar to what I've been noticing about Todd's stuff. There was this sense of play that wasn't about making everything perfect, and realizing that a certain amount of accuracy, or I should say adherence to viewing all of your characters as being on model, sometimes will rob you, no pun intended, of that comic book sense of play. And it's the same thing with the predictability of fonts. It's the same thing with all of it. Predictability, unpredictability, and not knowing what the hell's going on is not exactly a plus. But predictability to the point to where you just gloss over things because you know what's going to happen is it much better. It's not. It doesn't make for better work. And I just was thinking, oh man, I need to just. I don't know. I've been living in that lately. Like, what about? I love comic books, as you can probably guess. And I love working on Nosfero. So the fun thing about Nosfero was, wherever that book is, I know I have it somewhere. I have 1,000 different things here, as you can imagine. It's not there. Oh, there it is. Or no, that's the proof copy. Dang, this is maybe the first time I couldn't easily grab a copy of Nosfero in a while. Here it is. But I started... when you look at Nosfero, when you see what I'm doing with this book, right? Every single thing here is handcrafted. It's there's this feeling of, you're seeing something that just didn't come out of a can. And that's really, really important to me. It's really important to me to have that sense of play. Guys, by the way, this is available right now on Indiegogo. The campaign has done incredibly well. Thank you guys for your support. I'm humbled and surprised by how well it's done. But even when I do a very sophisticated layout, as I did for this gouache sketch for this painting right here, I still have to leave a little bit of room for play or the piece is going to be dead. And so when I look at Springball, I see how I was learning my craft, and I was trying to do so much at an early age, but there's no way I could have done the kind of play work that I'm doing right now. Because, what is it someone said, the reason why it's important to acquire skill and to have the discipline to acquire skill is so that you can throw yourself off as an artist into some crazy direction and count on your skill to catch you. So you can get braver with your ideas the more skill you have. And you guys have seen this when you see someone who's really good at the guitar and they go into a guitar solo and you can tell they're improvising faster than they can think. It's all muscle memory. It is the same thing with both writing and the drawing of Nosfero and Springball. And one of the things I really wanted to do, because I love his logo so much, oh God, it's 100% happening, John. Mark is saying been mid-70s. King Mac is saying it's been 70s for the last week or so. Lows in the 60s. I'm sure we will have at least one more bit of colder weather. Yeah, I don't doubt it. You guys got some snow, brother. I still can't believe that, man. That is craziness. So, yeah, I mean, the weather's just been nuts down there in general. But, so when I'm working on this stuff, if I can't find that way to give you something it's worth it existing, comic book-wise, then I can't really get the energy into it. It's the same thing with this painting. When I have, and by the way, I don't take on things that I can't get the energy for. So when I'm working on this painting right here, this commission, I mean, I'm researching all of this stuff I hadn't thought about. Same thing goes with the YouTube videos. I'm researching all this stuff to get the best painting possible, because the act of somebody commissioning me to do a painting is opening up a door, best case scenario, for me not to just fall back on only what I do, because that's always going to come with me, but to open a door to an experience to where their painting is proof positive of a new journey, a new step, and a new doorway being opened by the act of painting it. And Springball has officially justified itself in its new incarnation. And Nosfero, I mean, the reason I love it so much, Nosfero, it justified itself from the word go. I went, this book feels, it's a book I always wanted to make that I didn't know I wanted to make until I made it. It's crazy. Like, there was this feeling for me when I was making comic book stuff before Nosfero that no matter how hard I tried, I knew it wasn't it. And since Nosfero, everything's changed. Everything has changed with my work. It's big, It's big. Yep. Oh yeah, gosh, snowstorms and madness. Yep. Hey, what's up, JWK Creates? It's good to see you, my friend. It's going to be, oh my God, 11 degrees Fahrenheit overnight here in Ohio. I'm sending love to Ohio. I used to have some friends in Canton, Ohio, so they took us over to Amish country to get some cheese and see all of that. But they were, when I was living in Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan, they were our across-the-street neighbors. And then when all of the auto industry collapsed, everybody sort of scattered to the winds, and they ended up in Canton, Ohio. And really nice family, too. Really nice family, indulged in me coming over to their house and playing with their Matchbox cars and all that stuff, which is really funny to think about. So I spent some time in Canton, Ohio, and really great people. And love Ohio. Ohio's got some serious winter, though, just like Grosse Pointe Woods and the lake effect did. But I do love that area. I don't know. Something very chill about it. Because we would drive to it when we were going to Tennessee. We'd drive through Ohio all the time. So, yeah, hoping you guys are staying warm and bundled up there in Ohio. Look at this, guys. All right, so let me adjust this a little bit. Let's see. This is my light. This is my light filter. So I can just make sure I'm not having light shined directly into my eyes here. Let me see here. Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, let me see who I've got here. Dwight, oh, gotta run. Have a great evening, my friend. Have a great evening too, Dwight. And take care, brother. And thank you for stopping in on X. I appreciate it, man. And thank you for your condolences. Let's see. Yep. My dad's from Grosse Pointe. Are you serious, Leg Kick One? That's nuts. I don't know if I can take any more Small World in Comicsgate, guys. Holy cow. Holy cow. But yeah, I mean, it is a small world. That's the other thing I've been realizing. So yeah, so Springball kind of is... Springball is a fascinating project to be working on right now because I think it's Comicsgate, and a lot of folks sort of have willed that book back to life. It was a book that I did not anticipate going back to, but it refused. There's a story there that refused to not be told, and there's a character there that refuses to die. And the more I draw him, the more to life he comes, and I just kind of can't believe it. I can't believe what he's looking like. It is wild stuff. Really wild stuff. He's, how do I put it? In a lot of ways, you know, just like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was this homage to Frank Miller's Daredevil, but then it's completely its own thing. That's kind of what Springball is. Like, Springball, I think, in a lot of ways is an opportunity to put out there to people that we create really cool, iconic characters, which we're doing, but I think I want to do something that, like Nosfero and like everything I create, I want it to be something that somebody says and goes, holy cow. Like, that character just feels like it's a new superhero. It's a completely new superhero, and he has completely different physics too. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right, Cranberry Landers. Yeah, Springball and Nosfero seem to have been there for you to create. Yeah, and it's, you know, I was looking at the way that he works, and one of the reasons why I say it's Spider-Man meets Evil Dead is because there's a Spider-Man quality to you know, his relative power strength and how grounded he is physically. You know, he doesn't fly or anything like that. But the other aspect of him that makes him his own thing is, one, he's not a human being. And he is an invention. You're going to learn about all that stuff. Because there were some really wild influences on him. And then the other aspect of it is, but his personality is a little bit like Ash. You know, he's kind of like, you know, even though he's not a human being, he's a human being, because that's how we write these characters. What's up, Sleeping Psychopathy? How are you doing? Thank you for being a channel member. It's great to see you. Oh, I'm so glad you like this painting. Yeah, I'm loving this painting. And that's it, man. Badass and everything we do. A Silent Spirit, it's great to see you lurking away. Well, you go ahead and lurk. Thank you guys for hitting the like if you haven't yet. Hey, there's somebody I know. Congratulations, Katie Did's channel. How are you doing? I saw the announcement. God, was it last night? The days are starting to blur. Katie did. Congratulations on being in the King's Room. It's great to see you. Well done and well deserved. But yeah, it was crazy because I'm working on the character, and everybody you write, you want to make into a person. You know, you want them to be a convincing human being. And I think that, you know, even if they're not human, weirdly, like Kal-El and Superman and all that stuff, with Springball, I just found I was writing him, and I didn't know to write him this way when I first did the book. Like Ash, like he's an everyman. He's very meat and potatoes. He's not dark and brooding, but he's a pragmatist. Like, you would never describe Ash as dark and brooding, but Ash realizes that he gets thrown into situations that are just push your sanity to the brink, and he just comes out the other side through the fact that he just won't go down. No matter how many times you hit him, he just won't go down. It's craziness. Yes, I know. And yeah, welcome to that. Welcome to that. Yeah, it's, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I'm gonna turn off. I'm gonna turn off my ears for a while, Shanth. I'm interested in the book. I'm so glad to. Turn off your ears for a little while. I love that expression, by the way. I was watching Dukes of Hazzard, and I always love when Roscoe P. Coltrane says, "Anybody out there got your ears on? Got your ears on?" Love it. That's a big part of what I love to do with these comics, you know. And I was actually, when I was writing the intro, because I've been working on several different things for Spring Ball, one of the things that came up is I was talking about him and quoting the Duke Boys theme song. So it's funny that you would say that. But the idea is, can we fund comic book creators, which I think we're showing, in the creation of work? That's what crowdfunding is. That's what our goal was, you know, when we're doing this stuff, because, you know, the books are perks, and it's our pleasure to bring those to you guys, but we want to be able to have the kind of success. Each and every creator here wants to be able to have the kind of success where we can take care of our families and show this as a legitimate occupation through, and by that I mean not just working for a publisher, but creating things on our own and funding them with no outside input in terms of direction. And I can also tell you that the stuff that is in Spring Ball and the stuff that's in Nosfero is not something the mainstream would initiate or be open to for various reasons. It's the kind of thing, much like the Ninja Turtles or anything else, or the Rocketeer, that they will happily jump on board once it is proven to be successful. But to the extent that it is something that they're cautious. They need to test the waters with everything and examine and explore, you know, what the audience reaction is going to be. It's not something that they would typically do. And so that's what's so cool about Spring Ball to me is he just looks like he's a hey, what's up, son of what? It's good to see you, my friend. I hope I pronounced that right. Let me see here. Hail King Katie, says son of what. Perfectly timed. Prater 7, let me see here. Hello, Prater 7. Venom Bite, everybody saying hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much, Katie. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Gosh, I'm never prepared for the compliments, but bless your hearts. I do appreciate them. So I want people to pick up Spring Ball and go, I know what this is. This is a comic. And it was weird because I was watching a little bit. I was so out of it last night, but I was watching a little bit of Kang's last night. And John was looking at some of the early Wildcats. I think it was, what was it, the Wildcats Compendium or something. And you know, he was talking about the art feel, and I just can't agree more. I mean, I think there's this sense of just swinging for the fences that I love about creating as an independent artist. But also, I remember when I saw Ninja Turtles, and I look back on it now, and I think this is a book that was created by two guys from my neck of the woods, up in Massachusetts and Maine and these areas. They created these characters that have taken over, you know, popular culture by creating them essentially in their living room on lap boards and, you know, just drawing away. And Spring Ball is just one guy. Nosfero is just one guy. I want to pick up Spring Ball number 2. Yes, the old is good, Shanth. And of course, I'll be having the new as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Shanth, I got to go. All right, Stephen Rockwood. Brother, thank you for the pick-me-up at the start of this stream, man. I needed it. It has been a nutty, nutty week, my friend. Let me see here. Grey Wolf. Yeah, it pisses me off that one of my sons thinks I'm wasting my time with art, but I have nothing else to fall back on because of my health. He has no idea how much the upsets me. Well, listen, here's the thing, too, right? Is that, and maybe that's something that, you know, that I've been experiencing a lot lately. Whatever you do, you know, it's like, why do we do anything that we do? I think that if you really need to do something like paint or make artwork or whatever, it's best to accept the fact that you don't have a choice and that it's not going to make sense to a lot of people. And, you know, I've showed Spring Ball to every single comic book publisher back in the day. Eventually, I was like, I have to self-publish it. It was almost completely impossible with the way that Diamond was set up even then. You couldn't independently send it to comic shops. Diamond would take it off the shelves. They had exclusive deals with all the comic book shops, and they charged a fortune to distribute your work. It was almost like you were paying them to publish it, but they were just, you know, distributing it. It was just nuts. And so it was completely impractical. And then you didn't have a really good way of getting the word out about your book. in the early 2000s. I mean, this was before social media. And so for this to be happening right now, and with all this stuff, it's so completely out of left field. And I didn't know what spring ball was for. For the longest time, I didn't know what spring ball was for. And I was just thinking, well, this was just a attempt to do something that didn't work out. And who knows why I did it. And I kind of now feel that it was waiting for me to, and God, people have been bringing up spring ball a lot. The first thing my wife said to me when I was talking about CG was, she's like, oh, have you thought about just doing something with spring ball as well? Because she saw me working on Nosfero, and I thought, no, I don't have an idea for it. Like, I don't know where that would go. And it was just, sometimes there's just this moment where somebody says, have you thought about that for the 1000th time? And maybe something's been working in the back of your head, and you go, I know what I do now. I know what I do now. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Listen, and I'll tell you this, son of Watt, and this is a big thing, right? Is that, so I started taking violin lessons 2 years ago, and my wife finally bought me my violin for Christmas 2 years ago, or 2 Christmases ago. And I need to do it. I need to play the violin. Don't know why. I took violin lessons when I was a kid. Didn't like it. I just, my head wasn't there. But I've always loved the instrument. And I just wanted to play the violin. And so I started practicing and taking these lessons. And now I can kind of play tunes when I hear them. And I could always sort of play things by ear. But having my own violin in the house is really important to me. And I don't know why I need that. It seems kind of nuts, but I do. And it's yeah, about the violin, Shanth. Don't fret. Well played, John. Well played. I love it. But that's going to happen with everybody. Spring ball to me is a chance to do, much like Nosfero, everything I do at Shanth Enjeti Art, I have to remind myself, whether it's Pizza Live on Thursdays, which I'm going to do, we're doing Phantom of the Opera, just so you know, assuming I don't get sick. So I think I mentioned that before, but Mrs. Enjeti has been very sick for the last 5 or 6 days. We took her to the doctor, and so I think she's going to start to mend now, but it has been really, really rough. So assuming I don't get sick, I think I'm going to be on Andy's show tomorrow I've been asked by Andy if I will fight with Dennis, all tongue-in-cheek though, lovingly, over my love of Horizon, Kevin Costner's Horizon, and Dennis's who can't stand it. So that should be fun. So I'm going to be doing that on Andy Smith's channel tomorrow, so keep your eyes open for that. And then, so yeah, that's a lot of fun. And then I said to myself, what am I going to do for Pizza Live? Because everything I do, I want it to be fun. And Pizza Live, the big problem with Pizza Live is you just get claims on everything. Even if it's in the public domain, you're going to get a claim, or I'm going to get claims for this music that I use for trailers that says clearly on it, it's no copyright music. And then you're like, oh my God, it's nonstop, that kind of craziness. But the goal is to try to keep it light and fun. So if I'm doing a night here, and this is a night, a Templar night fighting a dragon, I want it to be a great experience for you guys visually, Let me see here. John, I'm going to highlight Katie's message. What's the story behind this painting? Oh, great, Kate, thank you. Where is Katie's message? Shoot. Let me find it. Goes to show you. Oh, cool. What's the story behind this painting? I'm folding laundry at the moment. Respect. I respect it. So here's the thing. I'm big on. I was doing dishes before I came in here, man. That stuff that keeps me sane. So the story of this painting is, a channel member and a big backer on my work, and someone who I consider to be a patron and a friend, had reached out to me. I guess it was maybe 2 years ago, after I'd done one of my favorite paintings for him, actually, for the head sketched here on Nosfero. I did this Bride of Frankenstein painting that I think was just really cool. He reached out to me and he said, I was wondering if you could do a Templar Knight fighting a dragon. And I was like, well, I'm buried on Nosfero right now, so I was still wrapping up that book, doing the head commissions, the head sketch commissions, which are basically just head paintings. I don't know why I call them sketches, but I think it's the terminology we use. And so I was working on that, and he said, but I'd love for you to do a Templar Knight. And I said, well, if I have a chance, and I'll start brainstorming about it, and when I have a chance, I'll let you know. And so he reached out to me, and I think I saw him in the chat, and I said, I think I'm going to have some time to do something with it. I can't remember. He'll remember better than I will. But he reached out to me and he said, hey, is now a good time? And I said, hell yeah, it is. Let's rock and roll. And I started doing research on the history of dragons, the history of knights, and all of this is for a painted commission. And I wanted to do. I told him I would do it on acrylic on canvas, which is what this is, because that way you don't have to put it behind glass. And you should always keep all of your original artwork out of direct sunlight. Let's be really clear with that. But this stuff is pretty solid in terms of how it holds up, and I don't like. I think you should not put glass between yourself and an acrylic or an oil painting if you can at all avoid it. I mean, if it's some multi-million-dollar painting, but for your own enjoyment, you shouldn't put space between you and the hand of the person who made the artwork for you if you can avoid it. If it's a work on paper, you got to put it behind glass. That's just the way it is. But I think generally speaking, canvas work is meant to be viewed like that. So this is how I would put it with Spring Ball. When you order Spring Ball from me, I sign a note on every box unless I suddenly pack it and forget. But I think I'm pretty decent on not doing that. I'd say I have a probably 99.9% chance of making sure I do it every time. I write thank you and sign my name on every book. I pack every single book. So there were 660 backers on Nosfero's first campaign. Every single one of those packages was packed by me. Every single one. So when you back these books, you're getting time. You're getting time on the paintings, and then you're also getting the time of knowing that the creator of this book hand-packed your package for you, wrote a note, and sent it to you, because that's something that just is both necessity and also what I want to be doing as well right now, because I want to make sure that I can say I packed that book so I know it's secure. And so yeah, for me, signing all of my first printings, I signed the interiors on them. So I just want you to know you got something that was directly from me to you. So it's the same thing with the paintings. And so when I came up with the idea for the painting, I did a gouache sketch of it, and he told me that he wanted a dragon fighting a knight and rescuing a damsel. And so I did this gouache sketch of it. So if you haven't seen this yet, so this is how I typically work up a gouache sketch. I took a piece of black Strathmore media paper because I knew I wanted to work on a dark ground for this painting. And then I went in and I worked with watercolor and gouache over it to do this sketch. And I wanted to have the claws of the dragon dragging against the ceiling cave and, having rubble coming down and all of that kind of stuff. It's just too fun to do. And it all kind of came to me like that. And the idea of the Knights Templar and all of that stuff and figuring out what he looked like and the shield with the symbol on it and everything like that, it really presented something for me to kind of explore the sort of the Fafnir dragon origins and all of the great stuff that comes along with it. So it's just been a blast to do. Amoral Fat 40 Ounce says, thank you for signing them with and not charging $100. My pleasure to not charge $100. How do I put it? With me, you always know you're going to get what you order and what you back. It's just a question of how much time it takes for me to do it, but but it will get done. And that's just how it is. But I do understand that there's an element of, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, all of this stuff is always a leap of faith. I mean, I think everything in life is, but I want to reward people for backing and supporting these projects as much as I can, and I need as many backers as possible. So for me, when I sign them and I get them in the mail, it gives me anyway a sense of closure of this arduous process of making these books, printing these books, and doing the proof checks, all of that stuff. That's a big part of it. What's up? Speaking of, we have a professor in the house, Antoine Dennison. Cheers all. Cheers to you, my friend. It's great to see you. Mighty Geek Studios says, this looks like a scene from Dante's Inferno animated movie. My goodness. Thank you so much, Mighty Geek Studios. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, one of my favorite animated shorts is the short from Fantasia 2000 by Paul and Gaetan Brisi. The Brisi brothers. They're twin brothers who work in animation. They direct. and they also draw together on the same piece sometimes. It's really a trip to watch them work. But they did the Firebird Suite animation for Fantasia 2000, and there was just this very lyrical, poetic quality. I always try to push my colors as much as I can, which you can start to see happening in the wings and in the face there. And I layer the color in washes so that it has this kind of vibrancy to it. Do you know what I mean? It's got this kind of kinetic quality to it. And it's the same thing when I'm doing washes in Spring Ball. It's the exact same thing. So, or not Spring Ball, sorry. Spring Ball I don't do washes, thank God, but I do have the same color approach. But in Nosfero, you can sort of see how many colors go into making a simple color when you go and look at the book. And I will tell you, the reproductions of my books will take the Pepsi challenge with anybody's reproductions of their books. This is a very heavy stock paper, guys. This is not thin paper. That's why my books cost what they do. And also for the labor, I should also point out the labor is a major factor. But this is better paper than you would see when you bought those. And this is an 8.5 by 11 book. It's better paper than you would see in the prestige format books. And the artwork is better. The story is more meaningful. This stuff is absolutely beautiful. And I love showing it next to my originals when I'm working on Nosfero because it totally lines up. Totally lines up. Oh my gosh, Michael, it's good to see you. Hello, hello, hello. Funny story. I don't remember the context. Shoot. But my wife and I were talking, which we do sometimes. And she mentioned, for some reason, she brought up the term bogan because she had just heard about it, that it was like a term because she's watching a lot of Australian Netflix stuff. God, she's watching a terrifying one right now that you probably know the story well of that's making all the rounds. And no, it wasn't bedroom talk. That's what you and I talk about. We talk about her when we're together. Sorry, Mel. That's what it is. But no, she's watching that show on the holistic medicine influencer who lied about having a certain medical condition, and it's such a horrific story. I watched an actual interview with her and I was like, oh my God, there's some really disturbed people out there. Anyway, so I was explaining to her that that's where I learned the term from. Yeah, Spring Ball should have a bogan in it. Well, I mean, I think in a way he kind of is a bogan in that way. Yes. See, Mike, I knew you'd know, Mike. It's absolutely the most terrifying thing I've seen in a while. And I've seen some terrifying stuff. And I thought, what a monster. What a monster. But so, yeah, so this is the stuff right there. And you can just see how rich the colors are in the book. I mean, this book is just, I'm so proud of it. And I was looking actually just recently, if I can find it, at the cover I did for Zaid Studios. I always get them confused, the opposites. But the gentleman who, I did a cover for the book for the gentleman who did that art draw contest thing with Ethan, who's an independent creator. And this is his book. And this is the painted cover I did for Beckoned Recourse. And that was another big breakthrough painting for me. So, you know, when I'm working on this, every painting I do, I've got X amount of time in my life, X amount of books I can do. So the support you give me right now will dictate the quality of that life and how long I can do it. And the work I do right now is work that is, I only have so many paintings in me. And this is the stuff that I'm choosing to do because I think it is of value. And it's a wonderful thing to give people the gift of your time when they appreciate it and when they support it. And I think that might be one of the things that has made, the last couple of weeks a bit frustrating for me, is because every now and again, I don't even work this way, so I don't think this way. It's almost like it breaks my mind to think about it. And Lord Henson, it's great to see you, channel member. You know, you are a welcome addition, my friend. I know you know that, but I gotta say it, man. And thank you, man. I really appreciate that. Painting gets better and better every time you show it off. Thank you, man. So I had a situation where a former student of mine just out of the blue, with no context on either side of it, just sent me this really nasty projection of who he is, like, something effective. So you cut me out of your life just because I don't get along with your politics, which I take it to mean me being in Comicsgate. And he's like, oh, well, which none of that's true, by the way. I don't require people to share my politics, just so people know. I do berate people who are friends of mine who don't know and haven't read the U.S. Constitution. That's just me. That's the teacher in me. But I don't do that. So I thought that was kind of offensive. And I'm also former mentors. You don't talk that way. My upbringing, clearly not his. And when someone gives you of their time the way that teachers do, we don't make a lot of money teaching, shockingly. And he knows that. He knows how much time I put in versus what I was compensated for it. But he said, anyway, enjoy Comicsgate, I guess. And it was somebody basically telling me who they were, but it really, I try not to get angry and upset, because I'm a little bit like Bill Bixby in The Incredible Hulk. No, but I feel more like Bill Bixby, part of that, by the way. But it was such a, like, I just thought, you got up in the morning, having not talked to me in forever, and just decided to insult me out of the blue, and then say, enjoy Comicsgate. You didn't ask, like, hey man, how are your kids doing? Like, God knows, like, the stuff, like, my mother-in-law just had to have surgery. Thank God she's okay. The prognosis is good, but for a very a tough, it was a diagnosis that kind of took us by surprise and was shocking. Like, all these things are going on in my life. And this person, and I always assume that's the case for everyone else. This dude, and I don't care. I don't give a darn about it. Try not to swear. This guy hasn't backed a single one of my books. This guy hasn't, like, he doesn't care what's going on with me. And I just thought, wow, man, I, like, laid out your portfolio, taught you color theory, helped you with all this stuff, and you just said to yourself, man, I try not to be down, but it's one of the reasons why I don't teach anymore. Because you give your time, and it's like, and for what? And I go, I'm working my tail off in Comicsgate. I need all the backers I can get. I need these things to do well. You should be saying to me, oh my God, I just saw you had a campaign, man. Sorry I haven't talked to you in a while. Hope the family's well. We're all well. I just backed your something. Or even if you didn't back my book, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. No, they're actually quite good and quite successful in their career. But they're highly political, and I mean office politics-wise. They're very married to a particular way they portray themselves. Let's put it that way. And they see everybody, as I learned from that message, they see everybody in a way to, like, everything is about status. And if I had thought the same way, I would never have helped anybody as a teacher or done any of the things that I do in my life. So to have somebody, and it was clearly projection. I don't know what's going on in this person's life. I mean, at their age, they're probably having a midlife crisis, realizing that they're not young anymore. And I just want to be like, dude, you haven't been young for like a decade and a half. Get over it. You know what I mean? But it was just the absurdity of my mentor, who has helped me like, that guy. I can't say thank you enough. The idea of doing that really made me sick, to be honest. It really made me feel like angry, and Mrs. Enjetti was like, don't respond. Don't reply. And I was ready to rock and roll. I was like, dude, I will rip. I mean, what are those things? The three things all wise men fear. The anger of a gentle man should be in that mix. And I'm always amazed. I don't understand that, guys. Why do people see someone who is positive, enthusiastic, and think to themselves, I need to see how far they go before they get angry? Because they can't really be that positive. What if I really am this positive? And what if I really am, my wife, no, I'm swearing. My wife got asked by one of her friends at work, because they watched me being positive when I was substitute teaching at a high school for 2 weeks to help out a friend of ours, who I actually am, guys. This is what I actually do. Helping people whenever I can. Just like our friend who just passed away, by the way. I love that woman so much. I miss her. And And they said, my God, is he always like this? Like, is he like this at home? Like, how is he keeping this up? And she goes, yes, this is what he actually is like. 5 years on YouTube, folks. This is what I'm actually like. So this person should have known better. This person should have known better. And the only thing I could think when I saw that was, besides the indignation and really just, I was really angry. I'm like way too angry to, at the time to, if I go scorched earth, I go scorched earth. I don't need to be doing this. But it's really frustrating when people project their conniving backroom BS onto me. And I've had to accept that a lot. Like, I have to accept that sometimes, that you get to know people, you hang out with them, and then you find out that, they project into your silence all of this BS and stuff like that. But from a student who I have given so much to, and that who I supported, and who I frankly limited his contact with me because he became obsessed with cancel culture. I'll tell you a story about this, and that's important because I think it's despicable. There was a stream early on in Comicsgate that I don't know if any of you guys remember, when Ethan was just having his personal information sought out and put out there, and people were just trying to hurt him in any way. CYBERFROG, I think, had just crossed, the first CYBERFROG had just crossed a major milestone. And he broke down and he was talking about having, a daughter with autism and having to take care of his family, and these people are trying to humiliate him all just because of, his politics. Ironic that what this person wrote to me. And I sent it to him, and he had sent me all this stuff about cancel culture and how excited he was that John Lasseter, was being canceled, one of his childhood heroes. These people are sick, man. They're really sick. And I sent him the video of Ethan. And I said, this is what the culture that you're cheerleading about does to people. This is a grown man who has had his career taken from him, reduced to tears because of all of this horrible stuff these people are doing to him. And he sent me back something like, I get that, but, you play with matches, you get burned, or something to that effect. It was really glib. Now, I had known this guy a lot longer than I'd known Ethan. Still, I could say that. But they're right and wrong are not that opaque. They're not that confusing. And saying that to me and being able to watch something like that and say, I don't give a damn, is the antithesis of what this person puts out there about themselves. And for them to throw that shade at me just sickened me. And I remember saying, I was like, I'm limiting my contact with this person. This person only contacts me and likes me because they know, which I don't talk. You guys know, if you've been on this channel a lot, I know a lot of people who are very successful and in the industry, way more successful than folks in Comicsgate. And that's not to put anybody down. People in Comicsgate are plenty successful, but I mean, people that are known around the world have massive fan bases for just them, right? And people like to be able to say they're friends with me and they know me, which is why I keep these people out of my life, because I know this person or that person, like they're 1 degree of separation away. And for my friends who are successful in the industry, I'm someone they can come to where they know whatever they say or whatever is going on in their life, if someone's sick in their family or whatever else, all I care about is if they're healthy, how their family is doing, and there's none of that stuff. Can you get me something? There's none of that sleazy stuff, because that's who I am. And usually when people flip out on me or decide I am alive again after not having contacted me for a while, it's because they see something. Now, maybe it was, oh my God, did you hear Shanth's going to be launching that Springball comic? And then he realized that I had him very limited on my social media. And that drove him into anger. And what I'd like to say to him and any person who, who's had me as a teacher, I contact and I communicate with whoever I want to, whenever I want to. When I talk to my mentors, if they don't answer me, if they don't pick up the phone, that is their right. I don't own them. They aren't my dog. And to go and, it's craziness. It's craziness to me, And it's I always encourage people that, when it comes to this kind of stuff, is that, I think I've said this on stream. You guys probably know this. I think I frequently say on stream, if there is, if there's a teacher in your life, a mentor in your life, or a person who's contributed to your life in a positive way, I'm missing the chat. I'm so sorry. Hello, Michelle. It's okay, Michelle. Sorry, I don't mean to bring you guys down. Hey, Marcus, it's great to see you. Yep, I know what you mean. Seriously. Admiral Wackass, thank you. Long-time channel member. It's great to see you. John, it's great to see you, my friend. As always, Marcus, I got you there. Caleb, there you go. Exactly. Lions don't worry about hyenas. You're 100% right. Absolutely right. It's a very weird thing. I love seeing you, Admiral. You crack me up, man. And it's one of those things to where I'd encourage all of you guys, every now and again when stuff like that happens, and it does, it's going to happen to everybody. Just make sure, you take a knee and you realize, like, okay, this isn't somebody that I need in my life, and thank you for revealing that. Mike, it's because I don't have to write them. That's my secret. I do realize how weird it is. So for those of you guys joining us late in terms of me and my streaming stuff, and let me do this real quick because let me see here. Turn this off. Is that okay? Cool. I'm turning this off just for a second, guys. For anybody joining us late and who doesn't know this, I have a very unique quality that I did not know was unique. I thought everybody had this, or didn't have this is probably a more accurate way of putting it. And it is this. I do not have an internal monologue. Okay. So I don't hear my own voice in my head thinking things that I do not say. So when I would watch shows like Seinfeld, or I would watch shows, that had internal monologues in them, or I saw word bubbles in comics, I always thought that was an invention out of whole cloth. I thought, this isn't a real thing. You can look up, there's a great interview with somebody that they did, a radio interview, or it was a little podcast piece called A Penny for Your Non-Thoughts. And it's a person talking about that. And like me, they've, I think they have a PhD, but I have master's degrees and written thesis and all that other stuff. But I can actually be working on a painting and have a conversation at the same time, because there is no internal other Shanth words happening. And I still play out scenarios, and I can play out scenarios with people, so I can pictures in my head like crazy. But I don't, there's, how do I put it? What you see is what you get, which is something I had to figure out. And I learned very recently, actually, I learned that my daughter has the exact same thing. My son and my wife do not. But when I told this to my wife, I realized that anytime I said anything out loud, people with an internal monologue think you're saying it for their consumption, which is really funny to think about, because if you use that logic, and I get it, I completely get it. You guys are the more numerous. It is fascinating. If you use that logic, and this is how it works out, if people get paranoid by what people are thinking about them, a person who's not thinking those kinds of thoughts about them, who is quiet, they assume is judging them or is secretly scheming to do something. So ever since I found this out, I just want you guys to know, I now assume if someone's not talking to me, they're secretly scheming to do something, because I'm convinced that if by that rationale they think what everyone else is doing, it must be something they do. Tongue in cheek, slightly. But it does make for paranoid people have a tendency to project whatever insane crap they're thinking that you might be thinking onto you. And I've had to become aware of that. That's what allows me to talk and paint. Wild stuff. And so I would be in the middle of doing something. It's a scary thing. It's an absolutely scary thing. So if I'm being quiet and I'm just doing, I don't worry. I'm not paranoid people are conspiring against me. Let me put it this way. I do think in the absence, actually, gosh, let me put my camera back on. I don't, cause thinking about that, that's another thing I would probably have to think in my head, right? And I don't really. But I definitely have seen my share of, there we go, my share of results of craziness with regards to that stuff. But I guess here's what I've realized is that when I'm not talking to somebody, as evidenced by my message that I received, they're thinking I'm thinking about them. And depending on how, like, no one ever, this is the weird thing that I was explaining to my wife. No one ever thinks when you're being quiet that if you had a thought about them, that it could be positive, it seems. Right? Like, do people think, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. I sometimes will sit there and I will say, I will think of positive things people have done for me. Like they just come into my head and I'll go, oh, I should thank that person. Does that make sense? And I don't keep a laundry list of wrongs, if that makes sense. And so, but when I'm sitting there quietly, sometimes people go, well, is Shanth thinking this? And my silence doesn't mean anything. I could be writing a book in my head while listening to someone talk to me, and I could recite back everything they said to me, depending on how sleep deprived I am. So I was completely engaged. Like someone said to me, well, what do you think about when people are talking? And I go, I don't, I listen. It's like, I don't understand. And I'm not saying that that is just a limitation. That is just a thing I have. But it has made me, and here's another thing about it. So I gauge people largely, and it's pretty damn accurate. I gauge people on body language, or not even body language, but on their behavior and the things they do. I'm a very quick study of people. Very quick study. And my favorite thing in the world is, and I start with this as a baseline, and I'm much more cautious about it in my older age, but I start with it as a baseline is that I don't know this person, don't know things about them, but there might be something awesome about them that I'm going to learn. There might be something fantastic about them I'm going to learn. And as a result, I think it's an easier place to be, but you have to be wary sometimes because people sometimes come at me with this, oh God, what's a really good example? The phrases, I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking that you just know so much. And I remember thinking, what the F does that mean? It's so weird to me. But, so yeah. Mr. Shanth, not everybody is intelligent or self-aware, just like not everybody is, yep, exactly, good person. We're all human. No, 100%. Yeah. Well, that's the wild thing about it, right? So, if you're thinking about, this I guess is the way I would put it, is that without being a Pollyanna, because I certainly am not, and having seen a lot of things, which I have, if I have a choice to catalog and keep, the negative things that annoy me about people in my head, or the acts of kindness, I think it's a better use of my time to keep, or of my limited space, than to remember the kindness. So I remember things about people like in detail, like it's not on purpose. It's just in there, if that makes sense. So any person who knows me, and Mrs. Enjetti has tried me on this. Yes, that's exactly what I meant, Antoine. You know that. Is that anybody who knows me, like Mrs. Enjetti has tried this a few times, who says to me something like, and I did this with my mother-in-law recently, to her shock. She said, I feel like all I ever do is take, and I'm always calling you when I'm sad and upset for you to cheer me up, and what do I do for you? And I just listed out, like a reflex, all of these kind things she did to me. And I said, so you're wrong. We have a relationship, and this is a part of a relationship. You're scared about surgery tomorrow, and that is what I'm here for. I'm your son-in-law, but I'm your son. You talk to me if you need me. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if someone asks me, I remember I remember the nice things that people do for me. I'll just put it to you that way, is the best way I can put it. And so what I'm doing right now can't be scripted because there's no internal Shanth voice. I tried it once. I found it really weird, and I can't do it as a reflex. It's off. So I actually tried having an internal monologue, and all I could get it to say was, and then I was instantly bored, was it said, Shanth, this is Shanth talking, in my head. And it was a struggle to do. It was really weird. I can't get anyone in my family to watch Pollyanna with me. They know nothing of the Glad game. That's right. They don't know it. They don't know it. Yeah, God bless her. Hail the Injetress. Yes, she is. She's a miracle. What's up, Aviator Surge, my brother in poetry and appreciating those little things in life that are the big things. Much love, man. So, yeah, so that's what allows me to paint. So when you read Nosfero and you get that book, when I paint, it's all heart, man. When I write, it's the same thing. And it's the craft of presence. When I pack your books for you, I'm present when I'm doing it. When I'm painting, I'm present when I'm doing it. When I'm streaming and painting, I'm present when I'm doing it. You know, and it's like I'm ready to rock. I have to convince myself to stream or to convince myself to go on streams because I'm a big time introvert. If you haven't read my wife's intro to in Nosfero, which is one of the greatest, like, if I ever wondered if she knew who I was, which I don't really, but that intro should have sealed the deal for me, because she did write that in the intro. She's like, contrary to how people feel when they're around Shanth and when he's teaching or he's doing whatever, he's a true introvert. So sometimes when I'm not talking and I'm by myself, I'm not scheming. I'm not in some back room having conversations about what other people are doing and all that other kind of stuff. I'm actually just, which I know goes on, obviously, but I'm just painting, doing the dishes, talking to my children who are going to be 20 next year, my God, talking to my mother-in-law about stuff. I'm not sitting around cutting people out of my life for their political opinions. I have far better things to do. And it's such an insult to my character that someone, or to be honest, it's not, I don't even think the person thinks that. They're just projecting. But it's like, don't tell me who I can and can't be friends with, and don't tell me why I do things. Ask me why I do things if you have a question. And there may not be an answer. Some of it's intuition. And that's the same attitude I approach other people with. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Somebody could be having a bad day. Somebody could be having something going on. The problem is when it gets to be strike 3 and strike 4, that's where I have to lose patience with people. You know, what is that saying? Once is happenstance, twice is coincidence. 3 times is, something's up. So people get that 3 times with me. And then when I say 3 times, I don't mean like you stepped on my toe. Let's be clear. But I always like to give people the benefit of the doubt. They were having a bad day. They were tired. Things were going on when I can. And if I have an issue and I need to talk to somebody about it, I raise it with them. It's a pretty simple way to operate. And I think that's why you guys, when you guys are here, I spend a lot of time. Mark, I love you, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know where any of this comes from. I love doing the dishes. I absolutely love doing the dishes. I really do. I'm Marcus. Thank God for you, man. Thank God for you. Your support means a lot to me, brother. And yeah, I know we've talked a lot about, gosh, in past streams, parenthood and all sorts of various things, and the love of comics and the love of the stuff that we do and all that stuff. But I'm glad to see you in here, brother. Seriously, it makes me happy. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, you work with, oh gosh, it just jumped. Sorry. My glasses fell too. Oh God, I need to make that type bigger. There it is. You work with what you know and ask the creator for direction. Maybe that's the voice in your head is misleading. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how it works. Oh, my man, Woody Strode. Pike Bishop is here. The internet removes the basic social graces and courtesies that are expected in real life. You know what? That was what was so funny about it. Yeah, many of us introverts are doing pretty well on this thing, but here's the craziest thing about it, right? This is what bothered me. The message that, when I get a message from somebody, and it has a short TikTok video meme, that the person actually has known me, right? Has met my wife and kids. I'm like, do you see me as a social media construct? You only knew me before social media. I really do think that is just poisonous. It's crazy to give ourselves permission in that regard, but I mean, people do it. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing. I'm as you guys know, being an introvert doesn't mean that you can't be around people or even that you're not good at it. I've been a paid lecturer at, I've lectured about my character design curriculum I created and theories at MIT, Wellesley, obviously where I taught at Rhode Island School of Design, Hasbro, Microsoft Games, all these various places. I even taught a workshop at Turbine Games, which later became, I think, Warner Brothers Games. All this stuff, I've been around all of these various people, and it's made its way out into the industry and been applied out in the industry. But I'm a total introvert. When I'm done, I'm catatonic. So it's a huge, it's a huge, it says a lot, let's say that, that I enjoy spending so much time with you guys, because this would be impossible for me to do if it was purely just a draining activity. But I think it's something that is just a great feeling. What's up, Simply Green? How are you doing? Much love to you guys. Yeah, introvert means you prefer solitude when you can get it. It's not agoraphobia. Yeah, absolutely. I just need to recharge. I recharge, and I don't recharge by sitting around brooding and thinking negative things about people. Like, that's not how I recharge. So let me tell you guys, what's up, Green Laser, my man? It's great to see you, brother. What is up, man? And so, yeah, and by the way, I have very good friends who are extroverted and understand that about me. It's the craziest thing. I don't need my friends to be lockstep with me. I just need them to, the basic tenets of the Constitution. I need my individual liberty. That's all I really need. But it's a wild thing because I love my extrovert friends too. Like they're good people. And by the way, extroverts are very important. I don't know if he would describe himself this way. I'm assuming he would, but I've never asked him. But I'm going, and you guys are going to laugh at this, but I am, again, thinking out loud. I'm assuming Ethan considers himself an extrovert. And I'm very grateful that he's an extrovert, and I'm really grateful to be friends with him, because his extroversion is something that helps get the word out about my stuff and other people's work. Like, extroverts are incredibly important in that regard. And so, yeah, I mean, having extrovert friends is fantastic, and having colleagues who are extroverts. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like, I am a true introvert, but I can get out there and promote work and do stuff when I have to. I just have to recharge a lot longer. But I appreciate extroverts. It's weird. I didn't pick a side. It was assigned to me. By God. It's like, that's just the way it is, I don't know. I feel like I used to be very confused. Wow, between X and YouTube, we have a moment of 100 people watching. That's wild. D Handy 1984 says probably true if he thinks it's usually thinks that he usually says it. Yeah, it's essential to recharge 100%. Fascinating Bancroft would have never thought. That's right. Fist bump Pike Bishop. I'll see you all. Love seeing this stuff in the chat. Michael Bancroft, especially with our kids too. Right? Yes, quite the time. And yeah, isn't that a wild thing, guys? So my glasses just slipped here. Ethan has zero filter. Yeah, I might categorize as that a little bit too on some levels. So this means that when you launch Spring Ball, you'll come on the studio and week. I don't know, what does that say? Studio and week draw. I don't know what that means. I might be reading it wrong. I'm not sure what that means. I'll try one more time, Marcus, if you would. Sorry, distracted at the moment, lurking for now. Sounds like you respect people, are understanding towards them, but sometimes people not respect. Yeah, I just it's really weird because I've grown up around people, and I've been in some situations where people do things that you just go, oh my God, like, what would you do? But when you get to know people over time, and the more people that you meet, you realize that people are just, look, like, some people are just out there to burn everything down and do whatever. Let's not kid ourselves. But I think one of the worst mistakes a person, there's two mistakes I try to avoid. Spending too much time on somebody who is never going to value it, or situations where that's never going to be valued. And not spending enough time on a situation that is going to lead to something that is incredible that you wouldn't have seen coming. And it's hard. What is it? The wisdom to know the difference, as they say. And that's big. Oh, come on. Sorry, Mike. The type is really small. I gotta fix the type on this. It's very small. Come on the studio and we'll draw him. Oh, I see what you mean. And it's a draw stream I'm on. Got you, Marcus. That makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Let me see here. There are a lot of people that assume if you seem nice, you actually internally. Yes. D Handy, that's what it is. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes. 1,000 times yes. That's what I mean. When you're positive and you're enthusiastic, man, I got this when I was on Shane's show a couple of times. People and it really bothered me for a bit, but I'm learning. I just have to kind of let this stuff like just go whatever. It's weird for an introvert to be out there, but people would say that I was faking my laugh when I was laughing my head off. Guys, Shane is hilarious. I find it hilarious. I do not laugh all the time, but when I'm on some of these streams, I'm dying. I'm laughing so hard, and I need it. I love to laugh, and it's totally from the heart and sincere. But yeah, you're right. If you laugh, if you're positive, I mean, where is this grift going? Is the thing I've been asking myself. I'm 48. Where is this niceness grift going? It hasn't made me millions of dollars, I can tell you that. It hasn't gained me. Well, you know what's funny? It's not. That's not the God I even pray to, man. It's you put something good out into the world, and that's enough. You know, I do want my books to do well. I do want to be as successful as I can be. I care about my family and my wife. All that stuff is important, but it blows my mind. Like, that's the frustrating thing when I'm enthusiastic, that when people come to me and go, I know deep down you're this, and I'm just like going, you're seeing deep down, particularly if they've known me for a while, I go, you've seen more than enough. If you want to know something negative, I think, about something, or if you want me to say something negative about you, just ask. And if I can come up with something, I will. But it's not going on. It's not my obsession. So yeah, people do think if you're nice, you're trying to get something from them. And man, if people are naturally suspicious, I do understand that on some levels. But if they're naturally suspicious and you have no internal dialogue, man, is it rough. Man, is it rough. Because there are so many rules we have about what the subtext is for behavior, all predicated on an internal monologue. Sorry, not dialogue, it's monologue, not an internal dialogue. I don't have an internal monologue. So it's like, if someone's being nice to you, beware of strangers bearing. It makes sense. I mean, I use those things, so I'm not going to tell anyone else not to use them. But it almost seems like it's a relief sometimes when people, like, sometimes I feel like I've been in situations where people have driven me, because when I'm being nice, people do things to piss me off just to see if I could snap. And the end result of that is, by the time somebody does something enough for me to snap, like, and it's like really vicious stuff too. It's really weird. Like what I got. I'm now at that point where it's like I get messages like that and I'm just like, block, delete, peace out, man. I'm not going to, because you think I hate you and then said something really, thoughtless and hurtful. I'm not going to give you the reward of hating you and returning in kind, basically making your self-fulfilling prophecy true, because I'm not going to dance for you like that. And that's the only thing I can really do at this point. I mean, you guys know this, and I do believe this, is that, one, I am incredibly fortunate. I'm fortunate for all of you guys. I'm fortunate for Comicsgate. I'm grateful for all of it. Just like you guys, we're all going to say stuff and have stuff happen that it's like, it's not, maybe it came off wrong, or maybe it hurt somebody's feelings, or whatever else. People fall out, fight, make amends, get back together, and sort things out. Like, it happens. Time can heal things. And all I think about all the time is just the gratitude I have for all this stuff. I mean, really grateful for the stuff that's going on in my life, and all the time. Herb, what's up? Hey, Shanth, back Nosfero. Is there a possible... Oh, shoot, just jumped. Sorry, Herb. Date for shipping. Thanks and love all you do. Thank you so much, Herb. So, Herb, my plan right now is I'm going to be launching Spring Ball when it hits 2 months, and then I get the payout from Spring Ball, which means there'll be money coming in for any backers. then I'm going to time the date of closing Nosfero with that, because for my first 3 books that I've crowdfunded, the mistake I made is I would wait till they were all done, fulfill them, and then there's no revenue coming in, which is psychotic for to do when you have a family. And I hadn't figured out that whole thing because I was just trying to paint my first comic book. So my goal is to launch Spring Ball within the next month. That's how I'm working on it. So once that, I may even just do 30 days on it. I'm not even sure what the point is of 60 days yet, but I'm going to talk to you guys and see what works, what you guys want me to do. And then once Spring Ball, they get to that point where it's like it's the in-demand payments, then I'm going to be like too late for Nosfero. And I know what's going to happen. You guys know this. As soon as I do this, I know someone's going to go, I just missed it. And I'm going to, it's so frustrating. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want to make me cry? No, I never do. No, I never do. Boy George was right on that, Aviator Surge. You guys are killing me, man. Oh my lord. Yeah, but it's I've already got it in InDesign, and then there's a couple of pieces that I want to do because the bonus features in the new Nosfero editions are going to be different than the ones that were in the first printing. So for the oxidized edition, or the second printing with type, there's going to be a new front piece, not a signatory page, but instead of that, a new painting, which you guys have been seeing me work on. And then there's going to be all the bonus features of it are going to be a look at the preview sketches of the next Nosfero book. So there's going to be some probably some images of a story I didn't do, because I had an idea for 2 stories that I one was going to take place and involve Egypt and my version of Frankenstein, but I didn't like it. It didn't work. It wasn't big enough for what I wanted to do. And then the other story was going to be kind of a nod to one of my favorite books of all time, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. But that actually turned into its own story. I have no idea when I'm going to do it, but it's unbelievably cool. And it's not the Headless Horseman. There's no horses in it, thank God. But it's a character that does not have a head, and that is not and is a good guy. But it's a very it's wild. But I want to show like how I got to Death. Death Will Die, that Nosfero story, because it is really, like, every Nosfero story has to be absolutely great, epic, and powerful. In the first book, because it told the origin story, because it introduced you to all these characters and the world and how it works, it had that quality. I was very happy with how it came together. And so to expand the Nosfero story, I'm now taking you deeper into a realm I introduced in the first book. And it's inspired by another silent German expressionist film, Der Golem. And I'm introducing you to a character that is almost like a Golem character that is like the Golem meets Frank Frazetta's Death Dealer. Totally badass. And it's going to be so cool and epic. I can't wait. Let me see here. Most people these days have no heads. Yeah, it's true. Absolutely true. Ferrostein. Yeah, it was it's a character that I created that is the Frankenstein's monster, and a story about him falling in love with a mummy character, and that mummy character, she's I've illustrated her. I don't know if you have these actually, Aviator Surge. You may have backed them on the last campaign, but you can see her and him back to back in the Rigor Mortrex art book. So there's art of them in the second art book. So, but it's a really lovely story. I'd like to do. There's Spring Ball may be the one that has the least amount in it actually, but I do love romance in my stories. So I do love stories where characters fall in love and all that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for that. I was watching one of my favorite movies the other night, which is like my dream of, the perfect day, which is Groundhog Day, when, Bill Murray is running around trying to make sure everybody, he does everything he can do for people in a single day. And I know it's impossible, but I remember seeing that as a kid and thinking how great that would be. And there's the relationship with Andy McDowell in that movie is just wonderful. I love that kind of thing, you know. He's yeah, I love that character very much. Shanth, is there a guy in the chat trying to walk like an Egyptian? I think there is. To blave, which, as we all know, means to bluff. He was probably playing cards and he cheated. Hey, Scooby Gang, says Cherish Psalms. It's good to see you, Cherish Psalms. How are you doing? Let me see. What else have I got here? Call your Legend of Sleepy Hollow book The Legend of the Fully Woke. Yeah, because the woke are way from the shoulders up. Yeah, well, I definitely think there's something to be said for that. Mummy and the Monster. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I called it, originally the idea for this story was The Mummy's Womb. And the story was wild. It was about parenthood and all this other, like, the stuff I write about is always, my goal anyway, is always to ennoble the human condition and tell stories about perseverance and unlikely friendships and bonds being formed. Because if I think about, you know, the thing that I'm most grateful for in my life, it's been, you know, the unlikely friendships and things like that. And I just got here, got to start over, says Son of Liberty Radio. Welcome, channel member. I appreciate you, brother. And it's, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's all of the unlikely, you know, meetings and chance meetings. I mean, for those of you guys who watch my brother's channel, someone wants to drop the link in the description, please do. Rocky Ballesteros. I've known him for 30 years. And this was the other funny thing about it. I don't even know if we've ever had a serious conversation of any kind about political stuff. We've talked about civics, we've talked about art, we've talked about all kinds of things. But all I could think when I saw him for the first time in 15 or 14 years was we're getting to meet each other's, you know, daughters as young women and have lunch with them. If you went back in time and told our college selves that this was going to happen, it would have blown our minds, and it was a miracle. Do you know what I mean? And Nosfero, to me, the fact that people are continuing to support and back a fully painted comic book, that's the first time I've ever done a fully painted story. Let me just repeat that. It was a leap of faith, and I was like, come hell or high water, I'm going to get this thing done. And watching that come together, and watching Comicsgate continually come together to back that book is so overwhelming, and I am so grateful for it. And it made me, sometimes it's just about getting a shot in the arm, you know. There's a lot of things that people don't know and that don't get said, and it's crazy, but I've been doing videos and stuff like that, and helping out and reaching out to Ethan for a while. I don't exactly, I think it was honestly because I was a Fandom Menace and a Star Wars fan, and I saw a fellow Star Wars fan who was my age getting mercilessly, you know, canceled and wrecked by people, and I identified with that because we're about the same age, so we're the Return of the Jedi kids, right? And then he was talking about all that stuff, and I didn't even know about his comic book stuff because I didn't read DC stuff, and we're the same age, and I more or less was reading other stuff. Awesome, hon. That sounds great. I was reading other stuff. I was never reading his stuff. I had seen the CyberFrog ads back when I was reading Wizard Magazine, but I didn't know who he was, and I wasn't going to meet him in where I was. So I met him purely because of YouTube. And so I've been in, you know, Comicsgate for a while, and he commissioned me to do a CyberFrog card in 2021, and you know, I've done some fun stuff from the trailers and stuff like that I've done. But for the most part, it's just been me doing stuff for Ethan, right? And a while back, I was having a really, really tough time. Really tough time. Just a lot of stuff going on. And I was just kind of like really feeling down. And I'm terrible at reaching out and asking people for help. Absolutely terrible at it. And, but I sent a message to Ethan, was just like, man, I'm having a really, really tough time. And, you know, he kind of knew the gist of some of the stuff I won't, you know, go into, but that was going down and all that other stuff. And he sent me back, and I didn't say that, though. I didn't say any of that stuff. And as busy as he is, and as busy as any of us are, we were all busy. But he sent me back a message and was like, just come hang out tonight, man. Just be around people. And then afterwards, after, you know, I'd hung out on stream and I was feeling better and all that kind of stuff, he sent me a message and it was like, I know how hard things have been because these various things happen. And I wanted you to know I appreciate you, man. And I know that's been a tough time. And I was like, wow. Like he gets it, man. And it's, what got me about it is it's something I would do. Not that makes it a good thing, by the way, but it's one of the good things where you notice that, hey, I noticed this person, I appreciate this person, and I just want to let them know, hey, that's the stuff that can really uplift you sometimes. And I really appreciated it. And it's you know, I mean, that's the stuff I choose to remember, you know, when I can. It's a very sort of a like when I'm remembering things and not just fully present in what I'm doing. Talking to you guys and stringing words together in a sentence is not exactly, I'm sure, easy when painting for some, but for me, I'm always trying to write a story, or, you know, it's just work, you know, checking on things, taking Mrs. Enjetti to the doctor, picking her up from the doctor yesterday, all that kind of stuff. We gotta, you know, take care of people. Talking to my kids. Yeah, not as cool as us A New Hope kids. I know we're not. Listen, Mark, my older brother, who shockingly does not share all of my politics, because that's not a requirement for me in terms of friends. I love seeing this ring ball and the He-Dog, man. I love it. And yes, check out Rocky's channel, my brother. And if you watch that stream with us, Rocky says the same thing. He's like, the dude you see is the dude I've known for 30 years. That's it, man. I think that's definitely it. Like that would have to be it. You know, but it's like, it's so funny because it's okay, here's my this one's recorded. This one you can find. So this was before I'd ever been on a Comicsgate stream, I think, and I was working on, I hadn't launched Nosfero yet, so we're going back a ways. And I went on the stream, and he had just gotten off of some, you know, debate internet thing or whatever, where somebody, it was when Aaron Lopresti was, and his wife Shelly were getting attacked and all of this stuff. And I popped on his show, and I said, actually, hang on a second. One sec, guys. One sec. File. See if I can find this. This may be janky, but we'll see. I may have it. Let me see here. I just want to see if this is it. One sec. Okay, so I think I have this. Let me try this. This may not go this may not go smoothly. Hey, what's up, Devil Flyer? It's great to see you, but I'm going to give this a shot. Hang on a second. Bear with me. Bear with me. All right, so I'm going to go to a video if I can, and I'm going to pause it. So, well, let me do this here. Edit. Copy. This is what happens when you don't have an internal monologue. You have to say this stuff aloud. It's embarrassing. One sec.
Here's Shanth Enjeti, though. Hello, Sean.
Hey, how are you doing, boss? It's Sean. You get it right.
Okay.
60% of the time, you get it right every time.
What's going on, man? A nice hat, by the way.
Thanks. You like it?
I do like it, and people should know that Shanth is responsible for like 70% of the openers for people. This guy's a great video editor. He's the guy who, in particular, this is really popular right now, the Art Thibert fish.
That's right.
Opener, which Art likes so much that he made a whole video about it. And there's that beautiful
video. I think he made a video about him not getting a fish, but I just also, wanted to say, Aaron, I'm working on your intro. I will get to it. I promise. And I also wanted.
I'm a little nervous. I'm perfectly happy not to have one.
You need one. You need one.
He definitely needs one now.
How bad can I go? Because there's a lot of imagery in there I don't feel comfortable using. But no, I'm kidding. No, I'm just teasing. Aaron will be fine. Don't worry about it. I'll find something that's not too terrible. But I just wanted to come on and just sort of say, look, at the end of that conversation, it was really clear that it wasn't a good faith argument. I think when you pressed him, he was tired and he was frustrated. And he blamed you for what happens to people who associate with you that's caused by the people you're calling out. It was basically him trying to tell you what you are and aren't allowed to say. And it was a lot of, him blaming you for things that happen to people that you are not responsible for at all. And as somebody who, has sent you those videos, you've always been really good to me. You pay me well when I work for you on that piece that I did. It was incredible. And you've always been really thoughtful and kind with me. And I think you've been that way with everybody. And, the reason I wanted to come on here is, one, because my son's really excited and he loves the Salamandroid figure. But, I'm launching my comic book because of Comicsgate, but I also launched those first 2 art books because of you. And as somebody who watched what your 200K stream, which I watched with my wife, and what you went through, I'm proud to be associated with you. And I was just here to say hi, Comicsgate. That's it.
I actually got misty. Thank you, Shanth. I appreciate you, brother. More than you could know. Those were the right words for me to hear right now. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
boss. I appreciate it.
All right.
No more cheerleaders. We can't do that. I've put on weight even since then. So that was one of my favorite moments with Ethan sort of early on, because if you guys remember this stuff, people were coming after Aaron Lopresti similarly to what I just experienced, by the way, where people will just come out of the woodwork and suddenly say, hey, because you're associated with Comicsgate, in my case, I guess we can't be friends anymore. And you're like, what are you talking about? Like, is that like, it's very disheartening, and it's very weird. But what's really strange to me is when, people say, well, I'm having to hurt this person because they're associating with you. And Aaron and Shelley, who had enough on their plate at that particular time, and he had just kind of, came on, I think he'd just kind of really come on the scene or something. They were going after Shelley and Aaron. And well, the reason why I like that moment, because that's kind of how I experience things. Maybe it's being a Virgo, right? They say it makes you happy to see other people happy or something. But I was able to boost 2 fellow artists and creators at the same time, and I meant it. I came up with that Apocalypse Now intro for Aaron, and it worked. It was a hit. He enjoyed it. It didn't embarrass him, because I think he was worried about it being too blue or too whatever. But I was sitting there next to my computer, and I was just saying, you're in the back room, you may go on at any moment. And I just kept looking at the leave this room button. It's like, get me out of here. I don't want to be doing this, because I'm just super shy. And so I didn't have time to think through, as I'm sure you could probably tell, any of what I said right there. And that was years ago now. Years ago. And so all of my favorite moments are times when I've been able to lift somebody's spirits, with the exception of one person. So lifting spirits and getting John Malin to smile. I know what that moment was. I liked when I sent him Nosfero. I sent him these vintage print collections of one was for Wetworks and the other one was for Youngblood that came out in the 90s, and they're just these color prints. And he just was so excited to get those, and it's always fun. Yes, a Malin smile. And it was great to see him get that, because it just made him happy. But when it comes to Shane Davis, I would say, and I could do this for Mike, I could do this for so many people, man. Anybody. But with Shane, the moment was we were watching these cat AI videos, and I don't know what was going on, but I needed to laugh really hard, and Shane was in the mood to laugh really hard, and we just started laughing uncontrollably. Like, I was physically in anguish the next day from laughter. Like, I mean, my stomach, my everything just hurt. I was just cracking up. And I those are the moments that I really love. So, okay, so favorite moments with Michael Bancroft. Here you go. Favorite moment with Michael Bancroft is when I was doing a stream with my wife, which I really want us to get back to. We got to start doing that in the summer when things slow down. Right now, we're just being buried. But I was doing a stream with my wife, and 5 seconds before the stream, I did not know what I was going to paint. And all of a sudden, like a bolt from the blue, I got this idea for a Lucent painting. And I just started doing the sketch for this Lucent painting that became that puzzle piece, and that image that I did for Michael, this double crazy. I was like, it's going to be a card, and it's because, you know, Michael used to play poker, and like my brain just suddenly everything comes together as a mosaic. And Mike happened to be tuned into the stream, and he was like, what on earth is this? And it was just that, it was an unintended surprise, a completely unintended surprise. You can go back and watch that stream. That is the first few moments of that painting happening. Okay. Favorite moment with Eric. Can you imagine like me doing the top 10 favorite moments with people? Favorite moment with Eric Weathers. So I've been giving Eric Weathers whenever he's got time and he lets me know. I just give some time to give him painting lessons because he wants to learn how to paint traditional media. And even though I promised I would never teach because I was just so burnt out, I decided that I was like, you know what, in this case, I'm doing it. I'm gonna paint. I'm gonna give him some painting lessons. So we set up a time to do painting lessons, and you know, and all that kind of stuff, and the stuff that people don't see, like, as you know, it's like because I can't be doing that on a stream. I need to really focus on teaching him, and he sent me. He went. I was talked to him about N.C. Wyeth. He went to a museum and saw that there were N.C. Wyeth paintings in the museum. He sent me photos, but then he sent me a master copy that he had done in acrylics, heavy body acrylics, of a painting by God Almighty, dyslexia. Mead Schaefer, not Sheed Mayfer. Holy dyslexia, that was bad. By Mead Schaefer, and it was just a breakthrough painting for him, and he knew it. He knew it. He knew that he had a painting breakthrough, and that made me really happy. So that was just a really great moment, there. But yeah, I like to think of the positives when I can. And I can't even list the ones with Rocky. I've known him for 30 years. I've had so many moments that are incredible. Going to him and my other brother, Arvin, us going to Skywalker, or them taking me to Skywalker Ranch for the first time when my kids were newborns. And I had just been up all night and had no sleep for months and months and months. And they said, come out to San Francisco. We're going to take care of you, brother. You don't have to think about anybody. We're going to feed you, make sure you get sleep. And do you want to go to Industrial Light and Magic, or do you want to go to Skywalker Ranch? And so I was able to get a tour of Skywalker Ranch in 2006, right after the prequels had finished. And they were starting up their animation department. So one of the first hires of their animation department was a personal friend of theirs and a mentor. And he gave us a private tour of Skywalker Ranch, just walking around. Awesome. You know what I mean? Just an awesome experience. And, Pete Cimetti. I should do a whole stream of this. This would show you guys how autistic I am. Pete Cimetti. I went on his Pitch My Comic. You got 1 minute or something to pitch my comic show he used to do. And Nosfero was $5 away from hitting its funding goal. The first run of Nosfero, which was $5,000. And when Pete found out it was $5 away, he made me stay on that stream until one of you awesome folks, and I'm trying to remember who it was because I actually do remember. I just got to see the name in my head, and it's annoying. Said, I got you. And just backed it for $5 to turn it over. And it felt really great that moment when it made its funding goal was with Pete, another fellow, last name ends in Eddie. Yeah, what a great moment to share with Pete. So yeah, it's coming. Green Laser, when it happens, like, just, you guys are you'll know. It's gonna be sad when my brain finally completely cracks. But it was, no, it wasn't Stephen Rockwood drawing. It was, I know who it is, and I can't believe I can't think of it. I can see the letters, but I can't see the order. It wasn't Eddie Sim. Eddie Sim. I love that, man. That's beautiful. You know, and that's the thing. Now, it wasn't Timmy Mello either. This is going to drive me nuts now. This is going to drive me absolutely nuts. Who was the person? Now I'm going to find it. Sorry, you did this to yourselves. Morning. It was a special morning episode. So, and it would have been more than a year ago, because I think we did Nosfero more than a year ago. And that's going to drive me absolutely crazy. But it was his open mic show on Comic Book Radio. And, yeah, and I can't remember what it was. And yeah, I got to find the person because I'll know it. Yeah, Pizza Mary. I don't know because all of you guys use handles. A Man Called Plush. I feel like it was, honestly, I could have been you for all I know, but it was a name like that I would absolutely know. And I can't remember for the life of me. I can see the name and I will know it when I see it. I can't do it. I'll get back to you guys on that. I don't know who it is, but somebody knows. Somebody knows. David D's in the house. It's good to see you, David D. Let me see. Good to see you. Yes, I'm currently wearing my Made with Liberty in the USA. I love that shirt. I didn't do it since Son of Liberty Radio. Oh man, I feel like I feel like it was a longer name, and it was one that has a particular flow to it. I don't think it was Prater 7, but it was something like that. It wasn't Past Master Dan. It was, this is going to drive me nuts. No, it wasn't. I can see it in my head. I can't. Robert, what's up? It's good to see you. So yeah, guys, the link to Nosfero, by the way, is in the description. If you have not backed the fully painted comic book Nosfero, the Crypt Walker, it needs your help, so please do it. Hey, everyone listening at work, What Geeks Do Network. There it is. You may have Past Master Dan. I'm trying to think if you did, because it feels like there was the letter P for some reason. And I can't remember, like, this is going to bother me. It's so going to bother me now. This is the problem. I watch train videos. I don't think negative things about people, and I can't let things go. Those are my problems. Let me see what I have. Nope. Let me try. It should be in here. Okay, there's a thank you. Okay, it was a great moment. So it was October 11th, 2021, chat. So Pete Cimetti's open mic in the morning is what it was called. And it was because I wrote him a thank you email. It was on October 11th, 2021. So if anybody can find the person, let me know who the person was. 2021. That was the stream of Pete's. I was on the open mic where somebody backed it, said, I got you. And so let me know. Let me know if you figure it out, or if you can find that video. But yeah, it was just one of those great moments. And I've had so many of those moments, hanging out with you guys in Comicsgate. And on Thursday, I've got a Pizza Live we're going to be doing. Hopefully they won't block the video or any of that stuff, because it should be in the public domain. That's YouTube's been vexing me. I'm terribly vexed. And but I've got that, and then I think Andy Smith is going to have me on Wednesday to talk about my love of Horizon, and Dennis is going to provide a counterpoint. God willing, and the creek don't rise, and I don't get sick. So that's tomorrow. And I'm going to try to keep doing more of these painting streams. I'm going to try to keep forcing myself. Like I said, been a tough couple of days. Needed to be with my girl and take care of her. It was her birthday. I can't believe I didn't even mention this. It was her birthday. February 9th is her birthday. So I had her birthday. She was under the weather, but we still made it nice with, we had cake and all that stuff. Got her some really nice presents, but it was a fun time, to do stuff with her. But she's just been under the weather, so just trying to focus and get things done. So much love to her. She's fantastic. A Man Called Plush. The shirt is very comfortable and stylish. I paid slightly extra for the thicker. Yeah, I have one of those too. I think I have two of those shirts. Really nice. Yep. Oh, and happy belated birthday. Thank you, John, to Mrs. Enjetti. Yeah, she is. She's awesome. She's my other half, and we made the best of it. And you know, cake always makes everything better. Oh, you're expecting snow, past Master Dan? Dang. Yeah, we've had more snow than we've had in a while up here in New England. But yeah, I'm dying to know who the person was who put us over the top. But it was just one of those cool crowdfunding moments, you know, like when Nosfero passed 200 backers, and you know we're almost to 15K right now on that campaign, and you know just all of it. I'm getting better at doing a million things at once, which is what you really got to do when you're a creator in this space, and you know, and it feels really good to have, you know, spring ball getting put together and all of this stuff, and painting. But you know, we all got to take time to make sure we're doing the dishes and all the stuff that keeps us sane. Oh, happy belated birthday, says Son of Wap. Well, I will pass that along to her. She'll appreciate that. Cranberry Landers, happy birthday, Mrs. E. I love seeing this stuff, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, she's definitely got my back. When do we get to see your true lizard face? On any stream if I'm ever on Ballers, I typically take that out. So if I'm ever with Mandy, I always make sure to bring the lizard out. So that's a Mandy Summers, more or less a Mandy Summers exclusive. I do it sometimes on John's show too, but it's mainly for Mandy and the Ballers gang. Because yeah, Mandy went to the same space camp Mrs. Enjetti went to. So, and she's from where I'm from, more or less. She's from that area, so she has the accent I grew up around and had a version of. So yeah, that was a fun thing to do. I'm actually really looking forward to whatever the last book of hers I backed was, because I remember I thought I backed it, but it's got a Dale Keown short story in it. Oh God, what's it called? Shoot, I know the story too. It's in my genre. It's in my wheelhouse. Oh, thank you, Admiral Wackass. Happy belated birthday. Yes, indeed. Yeah, she will feel better soon. We got her in to see a doctor. She'll be good. Oh, Gloucester. They're always from Gloucester. Throwback. Think of the accent. Says Mac. That's right. They're from Gloucester. 100%. What day was her birthday? Oh, it's the 9th, actually. Wish a happy birthday minute. Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I will absolutely pass along a happy birthday. Yeah, she has the same birthday as Frank Frazetta, which I didn't know his birthday until after I knew hers, of course. And I looked that up and I went, wow, how cool is that? So, yeah. The universe does some pretty amazing things, guys. That is how it goes. My goodness. Whew. Has it been 2 hours already? Holy cow. Well, folks, I am going to wrap things up so I can go check on the wonderful Mrs. Enjetti and see how she's doing. Thank you guys for hanging out. This actually really was good for me. I hope it was good for you guys. It was a tough week, and you know, sometimes I always say, like, I don't know what makes people want to reach out of the blue and not knowing how your week's going and pass along some undeserved, it really was weird junk, but it happens sometimes. And I always say to myself, this person's having a bad day, there's stuff going on in their life, you don't have to deal with it, you don't have to listen to it, but you don't need to respond or do whatever. Like, I'm not saying I won't, but sometimes, but it's like, for that moment I was just like, I got too much going on. So being on here with you guys and streaming has been yet another reminder of what I love about Comicsgate and how grateful I am for all of you Shanth Enjetti art maniacs out there who are channel members and all of that kind of stuff. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much. Your names are in the credit if you're a channel member. If you haven't been a channel member on this site yet, think about doing it. It helps a lot. It pays for brushes. YouTube is got so many copyright claims on me for this music that was pitched as copyright free and all this other stuff. I reached out to them today, but every time I do a pizza live, I get some kind of nonsense. So if the best way you can help me is being a channel member, it's always helpful. So and if you are, thank you so much. I'll put your names in the credits. And so, as I like to say, thank you, Aviator Surge. I appreciate it. As I always like to say, I think you're right, John, 100%. From the heart of Lovecraft Country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is Shanth Enjetti. You've been watching Shanth Enjetti Art, and I'm going to close with something much simpler, although I do like my regular, but I feel like I need to bring this one out more and more. Give nihilism no quarter, guys. That's what we do here. Give nihilism no quarter, and don't accept any from it. All right, guys? So thank you so much. Take care, everybody. I will see you very soon. Have a good night, and thank you for being here. Channel members, and I haven't updated it, which means there may be some folks in here who aren't channel members anymore, but either way, I think it's like just a few people. I don't care. I love including people's names in the credits. Thank you guys so much. God bless you all. And here are the credits. Take care, guys.